All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Only Points podcast with your host, Eddie Garcia. We got over here our boy, Eddie Mercado, and Alexis. Perfect. So, like I said, welcome back, you guys. Super excited. We are in Vegas right now today. So, last week we were in LA, meeting up for some convention. And this time we're in LA, regrouping, meeting up some
Vegas,
business
not
partners.
LA.
We're in Las Vegas.
Oh, my bad. I said
We're not
last
in LA.
week we were in LA. This week.
You said LA as well.
Oh, fuck. All right. We're in Vegas, my bad. And we are regrouping with a lot of business partners. I'm actually out here doing multiple things, but one of them is to get people lined up for our podcast. So we got multiple people lined up for future podcasts. So be in the lookout for that. But so far, like we always do, we want to start with you guys with some updates. Like I said, super excited to finally be back in Vegas after a month or so.
A cool minute.
So it's nice to see familiar faces.
Most def.
And then the other reason why I'm here is because I have a personal trainer here. Shout out to Mario, which you guys hopefully will be seeing in a future podcast. He's also a new business partner of mine because we both decided to start a company. I don't know if I want to disclose what type of company it is yet.
Not yet, but I guess he can speak about it when he comes.
Yes, so we would probably speak about it when he comes. It's a little in the industry that is more
Adult.
that
And the
pretty
more
much tells
that
it.
pretty
Okay,
much
perfect.
sums it up.
Pretty much sums it up. But yeah, so I just want to be more careful with that. I don't know what I can say publicly yet. But it's going to be on marketing certain services. But besides that, definitely had to get a workout in with him since he's my personal trainer. And we hit chest yesterday. And let me just tell you, Eddie found me in my bed snoring like a giraffe or something.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic, and I know that every time you come down, you just love your sleep. And if you would have stayed a little bit longer, I know you're only here for 2 more days. I know you're taking off tomorrow. If you were here for a little bit longer, I would have woke you up. But
Dude, that's what I was telling.
I was like, you know what? Let him have his beauty sleep. And
Yeah,
he was snoring louder than both my Frenchies combined. So I was
God.
this guy's dreaming for
And
sure.
they snore loud.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like expect my 2 Frenchies to be guests real soon again, like stated before. But
That'll be kind of cool.
Mhm.
But no, man, like you guys, if you guys know me, I hate sleep. I feel so unproductive if I just go at least anywhere over 7-8 hours of sleep.
But rest is very vital.
Important, yes, and it was very vital because let's just say Mario put me through the ringer yesterday at the gym. It was hard, but it was super good. I felt super. Right now I feel super sore, but like it's that type of soreness where it's like you feel proud of what the type of work you put at the gym.
The type of soreness you wanted to feel during COVID quarantine days, and would have been happy.
And yeah, so I pretty much achieved a new personal best, incline bench press. So I'm very proud of that. But yeah, that's pretty much up for my updates. Not that much. What about you, Eddie?
Yeah, so for me, as always, came back from the convention from the weekend from LA, Anaheim. I do have to share. I don't know if I shared last time, but the hotel that I stayed at was a Hyatt house. It was, I believe I did speak about it, where it cost me 51,000 points. I paid $0 for my hotel room as opposed to paying out of pocket if I would have paid out of pocket.
And you stayed there multiple nights, right?
I stayed there for 3 nights, three total nights. I felt like it was pretty. I felt like it was quick, but if I would have paid out of pocket, it would have cost me over $2,777. So I ended up getting like 5.6 cents per point, which is just something that's. It's a great achievement in the travel hacking world.
Because that's a good value
That
right
is.
there.
That really, really is.
For people that might not understand the concept, can you explain the CPP terminology really quick?
Yes.
Yeah, so 5.6 cents per point. Basically, well, I'm pretty sure let's hope everybody knows that your average or typical credit card will give you 1 cent per point every time you spend $1. So for every dollar you spend, you earn 1 point. Those points, I ended up, each point gave me 5.6 cents worth of value, cash point to cash value, which is actually a lot. So
which is usually what, a 5x on the amount of cash value you would have gotten if you were to just transfer them and accepted cash back or something like that.
Correct. Yeah. So I don't know if was that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think so. Usually, at one point, you would usually redeem it for 1 penny, but he was able to redeem it for 5 pennies. So that's what it pretty much means, right?
Yes, correct. So I a super beautiful hotel. I obviously enjoyed my time. There were not that many cops living in Las Vegas, ambulances and cops, police officers. It's very, very normalized. I think it's horrible. That's one of the very first things I noticed. Unfortunately, it did rain one of the days. I didn't like it, but another thing, still consistently go to the gym. I had an update with my gut doctor. I do have a gut doctor. She's helping me get my gut health back in check. Consistently been losing weight. I've had 2 cheat meals in a row. Not proud of that. Haven't pushed a sled in a week. I will be tonight, though. There was another. Oh, yes. After the convention, which was an incredibly successful convention, I closed around 4 to 5 exclusivity deals. I'm having a little trouble getting.
Fuck yeah, let's go, bro.
I don't think you guys understand what those mean. I'll touch a little bit.
People can barely close one, so wow.
People can barely close one, so I definitely sold myself, and it wasn't cheap either. So it was 100% worth the trip. I was by myself the vast majority. Well, I was by myself at night. The vast majority of the time, I was with one of the homies. Shout out to James Beyond. He's super cool, super professional. He came out suited and booted. I just showed up like I normally and typically would,
Con huaraches.
No. No, I at least wore socks and shoes out there. I wore
shoes.
Regular.
That's
pair
impressive,
of jeans.
bro.
It is.
You're dressing up.
Yeah, because I'm dressed down right now. Well, I'm dressed right now like I normally would, and I do have my slides, no socks. Very, very successful. Convention closed 4 to 5 exclusivity deals. Although I will mention that I'm having a little trouble getting a hold of the suppliers and the manufacturers. It's totally fine, but as you can possibly imagine, after a convention of you speaking to over 300, 400, 500 people, I don't expect to be the very, very first one in line. But if there's one thing that I did learn, is to not necessarily have a first big impression, but it's to leave a big impression, to leave an impression. That way you can bring it up to identify yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's probably a topic that I can touch on a little bit later. And then, I've obviously missed my babies, my Frenchies. They mean the world to me. They're being fed. Of course,
they're being taken care of by Gems.
Shout outs to him too. He actually flew home.
Can't believe the day I fly in, he's flying out. That's ridiculous.
Can't believe when I dropped him off, I picked you up, because that was feng shui. That was so smooth.
And you guys didn't see each other like on cross paths?
No, because I went to departures and then I went to arrivals.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So yeah, that's my update there. That's definitely my update.
That's great. What about you, man? How were your poached cleats?
So previously on the podcast, we had talked about the science of boiling cleats, right? I argued that hard boil, soft boil, there wasn't really a science to it, but I did say that I would poach my cleats, and
did you?
I did. I ended up poaching my cleats, right? So
no way. Okay, so what was it?
What was it?
How did it go?
So we played on Thursday, right? I believe we recorded on Wednesday. Recorded on Wednesday, right? So Thursday comes, I get my cleats the day of, and then I poach them, right? And we play at night at 8:20 or so. And I didn't score a goal, but I will say that we were up 3-0 until like 3/4 of the game. So like we were winning easily 3-0.
You guys were butchering.
Yeah. There was a man down on the other team. So we were up 1 man. Believe it or not, we had like a big meltdown in the last few minutes of the game. We ended up losing 5-3. Can you believe that?
What did they have, like Zlatan Ibrahimovic or something? Cause
no, I'm telling you, we were on them. We were destroying, or not destroying them, right? But
greatest comeback of the history. What the hell?
It's really embarrassing.
Your poached cleats popped at the last second, bro.
My poached
what happened,
cleats,
bro?
They popped. I needed
the
to.
yolk started coming out.
The yolk. I was gonna say.
I needed to hard boil them, not poach them. That was the thing.
So that's actually kind of crazy. I mean, hey, so did they feel like more comfortable or what?
I want to say that.
Did they make a difference? Do you think that made a difference?
You know, I was reading up on it after, and I was hearing that it's not really a good idea to boil your cleats because there's glues on your cleat, right? To hold the actual cleats. And the word that I was looking for was studs. You know how I was telling you about the spikes? They were really called studs. But these studs, you know, that's what the glue holds, you know, the sole and the studs. So I was hearing, you know, that.
They were deteriorating while he was kicking the ball around.
So I was probably deteriorating the studs and I was losing grip, so... But in all honesty, I don't really think it makes a difference. I really don't.
Matter of fact, you can argue it makes it worse.
Probably because honestly, I think, you know, cleats have gotten to the point where they're very high quality these days, you know. Back in the day, you might have needed to do that because the quality wasn't there, but...
Yeah, you have to compete somehow.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen, but there are cleats that are laceless. So that's fairly new, you know, because most cleats these days have shoelaces, right? So...
That's insane. I don't even. How would you get your foot in then?
Laceless. It's almost like the Balenciaga socks.
So basically, the part where you put on your shoelaces, you know how you can do like there's a flap on it, right? So pretend that flap is instead like let's say like it bends easily. And
but would you be able to mold it back to the shape of your foot? Because shouldn't a cleat be nice and tight so you can kick the ball?
So with my cleats, it actually fits very tight. Like it's hard to put my foot in, but once you put it in, it feels really nice.
I've even seen cleats that have the shoelaces off to the side so that when you kick the ball, the shoelaces don't play a part as that.
That's because you're supposed to kick with the inside of your foot.
Yeah,
exactly.
Not that much.
So that's another thing where technology for these cleats have come. You know, they put it on the side so that the shoelaces don't really impact the dribbling or the shooting aspect of it. So I mean I really don't think boiling cleats is necessary these days, you know, but
there you go. But I think I mean, like, you got them that day, bro. Like, I think you should still keep wearing them at least once a day and just walk around, and that way you start breaking them in for your next game. When do you have your next game? On Thursday again?
Next game is on Thursday. I don't know my opponent or what time yet, but it'll be Thursday night, 7-ish, 8. Somewhere around
there you go. And what else? What other updates you got for us?
Other updates. I don't have many other updates, to be honest. Same old, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, perfect. So getting onto the topics of this podcast, we briefly wanted to talk about certain items. First of all, we want to get a quick update about what is going on right now in the world with the whole Silicon Valley Bank stuff.
That's
just give a really quick opinion about it. We're not financial experts by any means. To be honest with you, I have not even looked it up online to do my own due diligence on it. But I've been talking to, since every single one of our friends is in the financial space.
Correct.
We basically
hear about these.
We hear about these things.
We have to.
And so basically, I just want to give our honest opinions about what we heard. Again, we're not fully informed, just so you guys know. Don't take our advice or anything like that as financial advice or anything like that. We're not going to be giving advice anyway, so we're just going to be hearing what our thoughts about it.
Opinions only.
Okay, so again, grain of salt here. So first of all, I'm sure everybody heard about it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. To your guys' knowledge, what do you guys think happened, or what do you guys know what happened, and what do you guys think about it?
Something about cryptocurrencies and everybody pulling out money, correct?
I've heard a little more. I think that was first.
That's an effect of what happened.
Oh, so it was an effect because one of the banks that crashed, besides Silicon Valley, hold a lot of money in cryptocurrencies.
Oh, that I didn't.
So they invested a lot. I think it was it's not First Republic. It was the second one, the middle one. I can't remember the name of it. It was Silicon Valley Bank. It was another one, and then it was First Republic Bank or something like that. Okay, but
it was definitely a big deal because it was like all over the news.
Well,
it's been all over the news.
It's a big deal because Congress had to act extremely fast. They had to do an emergency meeting with every member of Congress that was in the I can't remember what committee. But anyways, even Biden addressed it. Was it today or yesterday? Which means I'm not. Whatever your political views are, and it means like he had to address. The president had to address it for the skeptics in the
old man, and that's a fact.
Oh, yeah, very old man. Fucking the oldest president we've ever had, right?
Ugh.
Which is ridiculous. I think presidents should not be that old. Period. Yeah. It's ridiculous. But anyways, what have you heard and what do you think?
So I was watching. I have mixed feelings on this guy, but Graham Stephan. I was watching one of his videos and he explains it. I think he explains it very well. But from my understanding is that Silicon Valley Bank, they dealt with a lot of startup banks, right? So
that is correct. Yes.
Because they dealt with a lot of startup banks.
Venture capitalists too.
And in Silicon Valley, nonetheless, if you know anything about Silicon Valley, there's a lot of big tech startups,
Silicon Valley,
big companies are all there, right? So there's a lot of money in that industry alone.
Correct.
In the Bay Area, correct?
Right.
Okay,
correct.
California.
And to sum things,
Cali boy.
yes,
Cali boys.
there we go. To sum things up as best as I can, when people deposit money into their banks, the banks don't necessarily have to keep 100% of that money in the bank. You might think, what the hell, like, the banks, why are they like, why don't they have like 100% of my money at all times, right? Whenever I request it. What they do with that money, they essentially reinvest, right? And one of the things that they reinvested in were, I want to say, these
treasury bonds.
Yeah. And this was, I believe, in 2020. I hear that 2020 was, of course, COVID, right? So
everything was going up.
Interest rates were very low.
Extremely.
Like basically zero, or the lowest it's been, right?
Right.
So mortgage loans, correct?
I know for everything. Interest rates in the federal interest rate was extremely low.
Right.
So that is correct. So far what we know is that banks they try to invest your money for long-term assets, which are treasury bonds. So I don't know if anybody has bought in bonds or has been in the stock market, but you guys can buy bonds and they're either like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years long, and depending on what the current interest rate is on it, they'll give you. So for example, let's say back in 2020 you bought a 5-year bond and it was going to give you 1% return. Well, if you decided to keep that 5-year bond for the full 5 years, you'll make 1% on your money.
Correct.
However, since interest rates went up recently because of the Feds, let's say they're now selling the same bond, a 5-year bond, and now you're going to make 5% return on your investment. Well, guess what? That sounds better than the one that you bought 2 years ago,
Correct.
Right? So that was going up. Then what's going to happen after that? What happened after that?
Yeah, so basically that, interest rates went up, the bonds, the value of the bonds of 2020, they lost value, correct? Right. So because of that, the Silicon Valley Bank was put into a kind of rough position of what should they do, right? Because
which, to be honest with you, that is fine as long as they don't sell the bonds. Because who cares what happens in the fluctuation of the market until the point when if you sell the bond, you collect your 1%. You still made 1% on your money. It is, which may be good or bad depending on the inflation, which was bad in this case because inflation could have gone back down, let's say 3 years later, and then your investment was good, right? It was a great investment. So you would have still made money at the long run if you decided to keep it. However, they were forced to sell those treasury bonds. Why?
They were forced to sell them because people started to withdraw money, and essentially these were bank runs, right? So because large amounts of people were starting to withdraw, the Silicon Valley Bank doesn't have the money because, of course, they don't. They're only supposed to hold up to 10% reserves of their performing loans. So the amount of money they lend out or the money that they have. Well, the minimum is that they need to keep 10% of the customer's funds.
Correct. They did, but imagine, so in Silicon Valley especially, since it's a venture capitalist, more centered bank,
right?
Okay, so FDIC is a branch of government that oversees all banking institutions, right? They're supposed, each bank is supposed to hold 10% cash reserves in case you and I decide, hey, I need a lot of money right now, and if a lot of people do that, they have enough liquidity to be able to do that. Unfortunately, one of the things with that bank is that the typical clientele for them are startups, venture capitalists, which are holding millions of dollars in those bank accounts, right? Because again, venture capitalists needs a lot of cash to be able to start new companies, new ideas, etc., etc. So if your typical client has millions and millions of dollars and they start, even just some of them start withdrawing their money, you're going to start running out of cash extremely fast.
Yep, that's why the banks are FDIC approved, FDIC certified approved.
Well, here's this
$250,000.
That only. So that is the problem that was happening. This is why Congress had to act extremely fast, because those clienteles, there were the majority of them were not under the $250,000.
I heard it was something crazy like 97% were not covered FDIC.
Correct.
Crazy.
Correct.
That's why this isn't financial advice, but I wouldn't deposit more than $250,000 unless it's like a top 10 financial institution in the U.S. like
top 5 to be on top 4.
Like Chase.
Okay, so this is why I talk about tier 1 financial institutions, especially for your credit report, you guys, because Chase. Let's take Chase as an example.
Trillion.
It's a $3 trillion. It's the biggest bank in the United States. It's because it's owned by it controls the most amount of assets. So it's backed by $3 trillion. So it has a lot of assets. If it needs to become liquid very fast,
correct,
it can get that money.
So it's actually kind of funny if this would have happened to Chase Bank, where all the venture capitalists would have tried to withdraw all their millions. I think it wouldn't even tickled Chase.
It would have not tickled Chase.
It would have been like, all right, perfect. Here. Thanks for your business.
Yeah, because we're talking about millions of dollars that were being withdrawn versus the amount of assets, which is $3 trillion, which is an astronomically huge difference.
If $1 billion is a lot of money.
Yeah, which is
$1 billion is a lot of money. Yeah. 1 trillion is a drop in a bucket.
Right, and they have 3 of that. So this is why Silicon Valley all of a sudden had to sell the treasury bonds that they were holding on to long term. They were forced to because they had to become liquid extremely fast, which
and they were doing it at a loss too.
They were doing it exactly. They were losing money on that because they had to become liquid.
Correct.
And because of all that, it was a combination of fear, from people noticing like the stock, everything. Mm-hmm. So this is why the stock market went down on that. They FDIC walked in, they dissolved the bank, or they closed down the bank. And weirdly enough, I don't think this has ever happened where the government has stepped in for that special occasion to say, we're going to cover everybody's assets up to whatever they had, which is not common again. And here's the cool thing. Taxpayers are not having to pay for this because every single bank pays into a fund for FDIC in case one of them has to become closed down. Mm-hmm. And so that all the money is coming out of that fund, which they were already paying to. So thankfully, us, the taxpayers, are not paying for their fuck ups.
So it's kind of like an insurance fund,
Yes. Yes.
So I honestly think that the FDIC only stepped in to help prevent other people from not withdrawing everything.
Correct.
Because if what happened in the Great Depression when everybody was withdrawing money,
the bank run. Yeah.
It was the bank run. Everybody wanted to get their assets. It was a scarce time, and that's people were fear driven. So now, because there is a solution, I know that if I needed to withdraw my millions out of the bank, which I don't have yet, if I needed to, I know that I'm covered. So there's no reason for me to go and wait in line to withdraw my assets or whatever it may be, because I know whenever I need them, they will be there. So that's very important.
So actually, you bring a good point. I think we obviously don't have you're listening to this, you're most likely not into venture capitalism. We're not there yet ourselves. So not yet, right? So
keyword.
For the typical everybody watching this, we don't have to be worried about what happened with Silicon Valley. The only potential worrisome that we should have is the fear. And this is why the president of the United States acted quickly and decided to go on a press conference and literally tell the American people that no, our economy is good, we're strong, you should not be feared, because fear in the market is what causes the bank run. So we just gotta check, again, just make sure that your financial institution, wherever you're depositing money at, wherever you're holding your assets, your cash, that is one of the strongest financial institutions. So for example, I bank with Chase and I bank with Navy Federal. They are very, very well. Now, Navy Federal is a credit union, which is a lot weaker versus Chase. So I'm not worried about any of my credit or any of my cash with Chase. I might see potential issue with Navy Federal if everybody decides to still keep freaking out about this. So why I say this, because some small credit unions, local small banks, are having issues right now becoming liquid too, because because the Silicon Valley thing happened, now other people around the United States are like freaking out and they're taking withdrawal money out of their bank accounts. So that's going to affect the local small credit unions that only have like 1 or 2 branch locations and trying to serve the public. So again, you guys, I think we are fine. I'm not personally going to do really anything about it. I think I'm banking with some strong institutions. I don't have any fear. But yes, this is the fear of the public is something that you guys should be wary of.
Yeah, but the thing with me is we have a better understanding of who we're banking with. So for instance, I'm banking with obviously Chase, Navy Federal, Wells Fargo for specific reasons, wink.
I know, yeah.
If you know, you know.
I'm banking with Wells Fargo too.
Bank of America, for specific reasons.
Well, Wells Fargo is part of the tier 1 list.
Yeah, absolutely.
So actually, Wells Fargo, I know they have a lot of
history,
bad history.
Bad history.
That doesn't sound good, but based on number of assets, they're in the trillions too. So that's what makes them a tier 1 bank. So if you're fearful, if you're in Wells Fargo and you're fearful of that, you should be fine with Wells Fargo. So
correct. So I'm like, no fear here really. That's why I strongly believe that credit is our safety net.
Correct.
And if you know how to leverage everything, if you know how to leverage credit, not necessarily everything, if you know how to leverage credit, you'll be in, not fine, but you'll be in a better position. So, but credit checker, who do you bank with normally?
So I normally bank with Chase. I also have an account with Charles Schwab. I have U.S. Bank, Union Bank as well, but they're merging with U.S. Bank, so basically
and
the
U.S.
same
Bank
thing.
is the 5th largest bank.
Correct. So if you're noticing, these are all like top tier, the largest banks in the U.S. Am I missing anyone else?
I think
SoFi
is good too.
SoFi's
I
great.
think it's very important. If you guys are watching this and are just like confused, I don't know why people don't take the chance or the advantage of actually like putting down comments. Comment down who you guys actually bank with, and then one of us will personally like tell you guys, oh well, this is what
we recommend.
Well, yeah, this is what we would recommend.
Absolutely.
We'll actually respond to you guys,
Absolutely. If you guys have any questions about any of the topics that we're covering, you guys can message us privately or even message the Only Points Podcast Instagram page.
Correct,
and we're able to respond to questions and answers. We are actually thinking of eventually making this into while we're recording, doing live streams. That way we can get questions and answer the public's questions. Or before, we might have a form where you guys are able to submit questions, and then we can answer some questions at the end of the podcast for you guys specifically. So, I mean, again, we are not financial advisors. Please take that with a grain of salt. We're just very, very into the finance space because of what we do, and we like sharing our opinions with the people we care about. And obviously we care about you guys. We care that you guys succeed in whatever business venture you guys are thinking about doing. So this is what we do this for, right?
Yeah. The last thing I want to close on before we move out of the Silicon Valley Bank issues is that one of the reasons why these large banks, we kind of touched on it or hinted at it, is that these large banks, they diversify their assets, right? So
Correct.
Silicon Valley Bank, they put a lot of their risk on these bonds, right? And
which is technically a very safe thing to do because treasury bonds are only issued by the U.S. government, which it's a safe institution. By the way, you guys, I'm sorry to divert from you real quick,
no worries.
But you guys really need to read the book World Changing Order by Ray Dalio. Is that what it was called?
I don't know.
Changing World Order. But there's, you guys go on YouTube, go Ray Dalio. Anything Ray Dalio, you'll be way better off. But basically, you see this. Every single major civilization throughout the history of humanity has gone through this. Has gone through a liquidity crisis, an inflation crisis. And this is how major civilizations have collapsed. It's happened to Greece in the 2010s. It happened to Japan in the 1950s. Every single great civilization has collapsed at some point because of their economy, because of inflation, because of liquidity crisis, where a bank run pretty much happens.
Fun fact, do you know what saved Greece from falling?
What?
You don't know?
I don't know.
Airbnb.
No. I can see that.
Airbnb saved Greece.
I can actually see that now, yeah.
Airbnb saved Greece. I think, if people wanted to take pictures with the white dome buildings and the blue roofs.
Santorini, yeah.
Dude, that is tourism. Yeah, actually, some small countries, the biggest import or the biggest producer is transportation.
Yeah, because and it's actually kind of crazy because everybody's like, oh, it's super cheap to go to Greece right now. Let's go. And everybody's like, oh, well, I have an empty room that you can rent for, even if it's for the day. So, shout out to Airbnb.
There you go.
Yeah. But last comments on the banking failures. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So how we basically do this for ourselves is we have multiple streams of income, right? We can also say that fairly confidently that we have multiple, right? So that's one of the reasons why you don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's to have a safety net, and that's basically what our comments on.
It's a safety net, but also it builds relationships with some of the top financial institutions. Correct. For credit purposes, where it's my realm, it would highly benefit you guys. So when you guys are looking for credit, you guys are able to leverage those relationships with the banks to be able to get more credit. But so for so many reasons, you guys want to diversify in how many relationships you guys have with different banks. Awesome. Great topic. So again, random topics here, but let's take a look at them. We wanted to talk about billionaires and their donations that they do.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a big topic recently, especially since tax season is coming up.
No, tax season's here.
Tax season is here. That's correct, and something we don't want to talk about.
No, yeah.
I haven't done my taxes. I'm too turned up.
that was Donald Trump. That was Uncle Trump, actually. Where you at, Uncle Trump? So the topic was, again, hit it?
Oh. Billionaires and their donations.
Oh, yeah. So I think everybody that lives in the U.S. has been to Panda Express. I think it's pretty fair to say, correct? And if you haven't, it's probably because you're vegan. Nothing wrong with that.
Or you make good life choices.
True. Or you like really good food. So
yes, that's
so you don't want to go to the not so great. So of course at the very end by checkout, your total is like, because you get everybody gets chow mein, what is it? Beijing beef and orange chicken.
Oh yes,
just absolutely. A few variations, and your total might be like $9.78. Let's say. They're always gonna hit you with would you like to round up and donate 22 cents to this charity organization?
That's correct.
22 cents doesn't seem like a lot of money, and I'm here to tell you, to scale, it is. 22 cents is a lot of money to scale, because
imagine how many locations they have, how many times how many orders they get in a day across all the United States.
I think they have to process like 1.5 transactions like a minute. So 22 cents. I mean, 22 cents. I know to a lot of people might not sound like a lot of money, but like I said, it's not a lot of money. I can probably find that in a casino, correct? On the floor. But what I'm saying is,
on one of those vouchers.
To scale, 22 cents is a lot of money. Now, the topic is all these billionaire companies are donating. All these billionaire companies are already donating money So why are they requesting you to donate more? That's so that they can recover what they have already donated. So
and they don't have to pay profits on those either because they're donations.
Correct.
So they are already getting the full tax write-off by allocating a sort of budget to the donation, and they're just recuperating their costs. So technically, they're making their money back.
Yeah, they're making their money back. So
It's
for
ridiculous.
instance, let's say that I don't know, what's a good number? Let's just say they donate $5 million to a specific organization, which actually seems pretty fair. 5 to 7
And it
million.
sounds nice and it sounds great and it wins the public over.
Correct, of
Good
course.
publicity.
Let's go ahead and go to Panda Express so that we can help donate, correct? All right, so Panda Express automatically, I shouldn't actually be saying names like that, but
Yeah. We get a cease and desist letter from
from Panda.
From the Panda.
Then I'll end up,
Panda.
I'll actually end up, what do you call it? Filling out their little survey so I can get a free entree next time. That's how I'm gonna screw them. No, so let's just say they donate $5 to $7 million. Their goal is to actually get everybody to donate in all their locations is $5 to $7 million, so that they don't actually have to pay profits, despite them already taking a tax write-off on those $5 to $7 million that they already donated. And that's probably as dumbed down as I can explain this.
Yep. So that sounds, for the average person listening to this sounds really scummy. This sounds really annoying. Right?
It sounds like 22 cents is not a lot of money.
Yeah. So here's what I'm gonna be the middleman here. I feel like I'm all my life I've always been like, let me hear what the other person has to say. In every situation, even if it's happening to me, I always sit down and reflect and I'm like, maybe they're having a bad day. If something happens to me. So I like hearing both sides of the story. So I know, like, for example, let me give you guys another example. We hear Bill Gates donate a shit ton of money to charity for donate a lot of his wealth. They even, I think, what's his face? Warren Buffett,
yeah.
by the time he dies, he's going to allocate all his wealth into the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which they're trying to find cures for malaria. They're doing this. There's so many doing great things, right?
They're trying to extend life as well. It's too late for them.
or whatever we hear in the public, because it's also by the media. So a lot of these donations are also covered by the media. I believe it's because of the whole tax deduction. It's to also paint a image of the donor in a good light. So here we go. Let me put myself in both sides of the scenario. If I'm the general public, if I'm just a normal paying tax citizen, I have my 9 to job, it sounds insane and highly corrupt that Bill Gates is grabbing $5 million every single year and donated to himself. It's his own charitable donation, right? Mm-hmm. Organization. And now so it's like grabbing $5 million from one pocket and put it in the other. And then getting a full $5 million tax write-off. And now he doesn't have to pay taxes. Now all that money is not being sent to schools, to build new roads, to do all X, Y, and Z, right? That sounds scummy. That sounds horrible. Like, Bill Gates uses the same transportation that we use. He used the same amenities, the same public services, the fire department, everything. So everybody should be paying their fair share. Now so that is the viewpoint of the normal citizen, which I completely agree. I'm on their side. Now let me put myself in the positions of a super billionaire. I'm not a billionaire yet, right? But however, I do see their point, because think about it like this. When you pay taxes, especially as someone who's so into the economy, like a financial fountain of knowledge. Fanatic. If you're a billionaire, right, and you have to pay $5 million worth of taxes, and you have the option of either moving those $5 million and donating to your charitable organization, and now you're able to manage and make sure that those $5 million are being spent into something that you truly believe in. If you truly believe, like, hey, I have the best scientists and we're really trying to find a cure for malaria and this is going to save billions of people's lives, I would rather do that then versus give it to the government, which has shown time and time again that they misuse they don't even know how to fucking be able to allocate amongst resources or their remote resources. There's companies, there's some that, first of all, politicians are being bribed left and right for the benefits of certain companies. It is well documented that these politicians take money and they give it to their family and friends that own other companies. For example, we're gonna allocate $5 billion into a new development deal to benefit these counties, and then that billions of dollars we're gonna hire this company, and that company ended up being a family friend, and then the fucking development never happens, So if you're in tune with the politicians, if you've seen history happen again and again, what Bill Gates is super old, I'm pretty sure he's been hearing the same lies from politicians again and again and again. So why the fuck would I give my $5 million to them?
Correct.
It's frustrating. So why would I give $5 million to a corrupt organization? Because technically that sounds like corruption. That sounds really, really corrupt. Now, I need to say this. I love America. do not extradite me. I love the benefits and I love the everything. I'm proud to say I'm American and I'm proud to be from this country. But I do recognize that this country has some major flaws in its system. And so again, from somebody who has figured out the game of life, the game of fucking making money, why would I then give my hard-earned money to an organization that is going to misuse it, and they're going to use it for their own benefits, and they're literally going to misuse it, and I'm going to give it to the public, where I could make a charitable organization and actually allocate it to things that I truly believe in. So I think billionaires are also painted in a bad light as evil people. I was like, bro, they were just figuring out the rules of the game. They beat the game. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's not that they beat the game. It's they're playing the game by the rules.
Correct. And everybody has access to knowing those rules.
Correct.
Now, would it cost money to figure that out? Yes. Is it life? You have to go out there and you might fail 7,000 times and then eventually hit it off and figure out the 7,001 time. Yes. So it is risky. It is hard, but it is out there.
Correct.
And they were the ones who were the risk takers enough to be able to do it. And yes, some of them were inherited millions of dollars from their parents. Yes, surprise, life is not fair.
A small loan of $1 million.
Yeah.
$250,000.
So yes, Elon Musk his father owned an emerald mine. Yes, cry about it or do something about it. Like it, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is the system is corrupt. We've known this. Let's do something about it. Either if you don't like it, let's change it with the politicians. If you're like, screw it, I don't think we have enough power to change the political scene. Because who in the right man, what do we got to do to convince the people in power to give up their power?
They're not going to want to do that.
They're not going to want to do that. So, I mean, or just accept the fact, suck it up, and figure it out. There you go. There's your solutions, you guys.
Yeah.
Yup. That's basically it.
Awesome. All right. Next topic. I wanted to bring this one up. It's about making being selfish normal or popular again. Okay?
To normalize it.
To normalize. Thank you. To normalize this. Now, what the hell am I talking about? And that sounds very weird. Because everybody, since you were a kid, I'm pretty sure everybody in your life, your parents, teachers, whoever you looked up told you being selfish is absolutely wrong, and being selfish is not okay, and we need to learn how to share. Sharing is caring. All this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which, to a certain extent, yes. Being able to build relationships, being able to share will help you build relationships, obviously X, Y, and Z. So I think there needs to be a healthy balance of being selfish and being unselfish, okay? And it is okay. For example, I'm pretty sure that everybody has heard the saying, like, it's okay to say no to certain things for the well-being of your mental health, right? For example, if you are sharing your time with everybody that asks you for your time, it is extremely unhealthy, and you got to be looking out for yourself. So again, that's a quick example of how sharing could be also bad. So I'm trying to say to people that one of the most important person in your life should be yourself. If I ask every single random person on the street or whenever I meet them, they should tell me that the most important person in their life is themselves. And guess what 99% of the people say? My family, my dog, my whatever it is, right? My job.
Wait, when you said my dog,
yeah, I looked at
me?
you. Yeah. No, yeah. So, but like, no, like, you know, the people have the just their. How do I say this without making sense? But yeah, you know what I'm saying, like where people are putting other people in front or other things in front of before themselves.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. One of the things I quickly learned in life was the most important person in my life was myself. And that sounds weird coming from me because I have a daughter. And I'm a single father, and a lot of people think like, no, your daughter should be the number one person in this world. And I totally understand where they're coming from, but they're wrong. And I'm going to tell you what they're wrong. I realized that my happiness mattered more for everybody than for me to be choosing the benefit of my daughter over everything. Because here's the reason: if you are a parent, it is way healthier. It is much more healthier for your daughter, to your kids, to see you happy, fulfilled in life, to be overachieving in whatever things that satisfy you the most, than you sacrificing everything in your life for that one person. They may not see it, but eventually they're gonna see that you gave up everything and you became a shell of who you used to be, right? So for example, let me give you this scenario. I was in a toxic relationship with my baby mama. And again, this is not taking shit about my baby mama. I respect her. I don't want to mention her name because she has changed, okay? So back in the day, over 8 years ago, we were in a we were a lot younger, very inexperienced,
more dumb
kids, less educated, right? So dumb mistakes were made, etc., etc. And we were both not happy in this relationship. And since I'm Mexican American, my father and my parents were Mexican, born and raised in Mexico with traditional, ideologies about what a family should look like or how they should act. My dad always gave me instilled this, tradition to me, or not tradition, but like this ideology that no, the parents need to stick together, right? Sort of deal. And I had that ideology for the entire relationship, and I was very, very miserable. I was very depressed. I was not myself. It was very emotionally torturing, and we were getting fights, arguments, etc., etc. Until the day until I noticed that I was just not in love anymore, and I was finally able to break it off. And then when I broke it off, this huge burden got lifted off my shoulders, and I was so happy. For a point in my life, I was extremely. There was still a side of me that was saddened because I still had this ideology that I failed a family. However, but overall, I was doing much better. I focused on going back to school, or I focused back on what I wanted to focus on, my job. I started producing a lot of money. Even while working in 9 to 5, I was very dedicated, and I was able to spend more time. And guess what? My daughter saw me happy. And I think that is way, way better. Imagine like this. Imagine a scenario where your kids are growing up in a household where both parents are there, but they're using drugs, they're screaming at each other, they're alcoholics, they're fighting physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, right? That is not healthy. When you guys think, oh, sticking together is the benefit for the child, when instead of stopping and thinking, what if I just choose my own happiness? And we go our separate paths. Yes, your kid is not going to see you as often. However, every single time they see you, they have a memory of you being happy. Right? That is, in my opinion, that sounds way better.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So again, you guys, I think you guys should sit down, take a look at your life, and see who you guys are prioritizing besides yourself. And I'm not saying don't do anything for your kids, don't do anything for your family. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying put yourself first. Because think about it like this. If you were a parent and you saw your own kid prioritizing your needs instead of theirs, you would feel shitty as a parent, and you would prefer that your kid prioritizes themselves and their happiness because you want to see them happy, right? So think about that. Put your guys' selves in a position where you guys are the most important thing in your life, because we don't know what happens after death. We might be reincarnated. I don't know. Nobody knows. But so take this as the only time that you have a shot at life, and we don't know when life could end for anybody. So don't take life for granted, and prioritize yourself. Prioritize your goals, the things that make you happy. And if certain relationships make you happy, then strengthen those relationships. And yes, that sharing it's part of that. So again, prioritize yourself.
Yeah, for me, one of the craziest things was when I started making money online, which was easy to me, or more accessible to me. I had a lot of free time. The closest people to me back when I was living in California, it was one of my biggest motives that a lot of people depended on me, relied on me, and for me to stay cool with these people, I would,
you do a lot of things.
I would eat the bowl of crap. Go pick up this bouquet of flowers for my girlfriend, or can you take care of my dog, or hey bro, like I ran out of money and I really need some gas money, and I know you quote unquote got it like that. That means nothing to me. So now one of the biggest motives so that I can get away from that was to actually move. I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm extremely happy out here. I don't know if it's obvious, but of course.
No,
and from there, more and more people are starting to hit me up. They're like, it blows my mind that, I've been living out here in Las Vegas for more than a year, and people still ask me like, bro, you're always in Las Vegas, and it's just like, yeah, I live here, bro. Like, I live here. And then they say, oh, well, like 2 weeks ago or like last week, somebody hit me up like I'm about to move in with you just to get my life together. And I was like,
wait, what?
No.
Yeah, my response was, you can't just move in. You have to bring in value. You
gotta earn it.
Not just that, like, what you're gonna benefit off of me 100%. What am I gonna get out of this? So my response was, you can't just show up. You have to have some value. And that person's response was, what the hell did he say? He said, duh, I'm not gonna show up empty-handed. And I'm thinking, I told my best friend, and we both looked at each other and we both started laughing. She didn't have to tell me what we both already knew. We're like, this just plain and simply isn't gonna happen. Being selfish to make yourself happy can be taken in multiple different ways. Being selfish, there's a reason why if something, God forbid, was to happen when we're in an airplane, the very first person that you're supposed to put the oxygen mask on is yourself before you help someone else. I mean, I can keep going on the scenarios on why you should be selfish. And being selfish doesn't, it comes off with the negative connotation.
Absolutely it does.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Put yourself first. If there's a slice of pizza left and I'm extremely hungry,
I'm gonna take that Sicilian smacker.
I'll grab that Sicilian smacker from your hand just so that I don't get hungry.
Right?
I'm gonna keep that away from you.
No, that's we'll musical chairs for the fucking this last slice of pizza. No, you know what I mean. It's just like, put yourself first. It is cool. I feel so proud of myself to say that I haven't gone to a club. What is this? It's March 14th. And I haven't been to a club in about a month and a half.
Especially when you live in Vegas.
Especially when you live in Vegas.
On 24/7.
Especially when you live less than a mile away from the strip. Especially when you get invited on a consistent weekly basis.
To go in for free bottle service. Free bottle service. Yeah.
You guys don't think that's hard? One of the biggest reasons why I've blown up recently, I guess you could say, or am consistently increasing my value and wealth, is because I think, and I don't remember what it's called, but I want to say it's like second nature consequences. So last night I went to the gym at what time, Eddie?
1 something.
Thank you. I went to the gym at 1 something. I actually could have gone out to the club, because out here the clubs are going to stay open. They open up like at 10:30.
I don't know. You told me.
They open like at 9. I didn't want to say it. Clubs open like at 9, 10. They start getting lit at midnight, 1 in the morning. Correct. I actually could have gone to the club. Instead, I decided to go to the gym. Why? Because it was gonna benefit me. My consequences. My decisions are gonna lead to consequences. The consequences that I got is, like just better cardio. Building muscle, a healthier body. Correct. Versus going out to party and club. That the consequences that I was going to get out of that, they wouldn't have been selfish for me, just to please other people. But no, yeah, I'll go ahead and say it again because I love it. The reason why I moved out of California, 70% of the reason was because I was tired of doing favors for everybody. Tired, and when I mean tired, I mean tired. So many people depending on me. No, I'm good. And please don't.
The only 2 people that should be depending on you are your dogs.
Your 2 Frenchies.
Your 2 Frenchies.
My 2 daughters.
That's it.
My 2 daughters.
Awesome. All right, perfect. And the last one.
Do you actually have any examples or? Okay, perfect. The next topic.
Okay, awesome. So the last one to wrap it up, you guys. It's actually a little bit about being selfish. But how do you put a price to your services? Because people who are not, they don't know the worth. What their value is, they might price it too low, which a lot of people. I feel like that's how a lot of people feel, especially because they don't know, like they're not being selfish. They feel like they owe people everything, and they don't put a good price tag to their service. So actually, Alexis, how do you put a price tag to your services?
So I think there's many ways to do this, right? And I want to go more so towards the sound industry or the film industry because I'm not I don't want to say I have years of experience into it.
That's up until you put out your course. So I still want you to give your answer, but then I also want to know how much your course is going to be and how you would strategically put a price to your course.
How do you structure it, and price it?
I haven't actually figured out what I'm going to price it at, but I do want to say that it's important to know what your time is worth, right? You have to figure out what your time is worth because let's just say that if you're a basic 9-to-5 employee, right? Your time might literally be worth, I don't know, 18 an hour or whatever minimum wages in your city or state, local area, etc.
Correct. Yeah.
But you also want to figure out, what your time is worth because you might not be happy there, so you might value your time more. Sometimes we have common chores that we need to do, laundry, making food, all of that, groceries, etc. That takes time, believe it or not, That's why there are services that provide you delivery. They provide you these meal kits, etc. So the reason they do that is because time we cannot buy back, That's the one thing that is the most valuable thing in life. So to number it, to figure out a precise number, I couldn't really tell you, but I'm sure these guys could explain it better. But that's the important thing is to figure out what your time is worth.
Yeah, that's a big key.
That is big facts. Okay, so for myself, I can value it in different ways. So for example, it depends on how much money I can make in an hour if I decided to literally just focus on just capturing money. Because there's some activities as a business owner that you gotta do to take care of your business that don't generate revenue per se. Like for example, me figure out if certain integrations are working. That doesn't it's not making me any money, but it's going to make the customer experience better for the client, which will then at the end of the day make me money. But I got to do it because I'm the only one that knows the back end system, and so there's some things that I just got to do, take an L and just figure it out myself, right?
That's not an L.
Well, yeah, but time wise,
you're right? Actually just sharpening the blade on your knife so you could come out sharper.
Correct. So got to do that. Now, for example, I have a few great examples. Like for example, I do not go grocery shopping, you guys. I do not cook my own meals. I do not because I'm lazy, not because I don't know how to, but because it's really not worth my time. And actually so what I currently do is I have a meal prep service where every single week I pay $180 a week, which sounds probably absurd to some people, but they're bringing me 21 meals, 3 meals a day, so I can eat 3 meals a day, right? 7 times 3, 21. So now I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner available to me right then and there. All I have to do is open it up, put it in a microwave, 3 minutes later, boom, nice warm meal that fits my macros, and it was vetted by my personal trainer, so it's on my catalog and it fits imagine if I wanted to stay healthy, fit my macros to hit my goals fitness wise, and then still go grocery shopping, learn and have to scale everything, put everything on a scale, figure out the macros on that. Oh, how much macros does the meat have before I cook it and after I cook it? You know, like there's so many things and variables. I don't have time for that.
You're forgetting one big thing.
What?
Doing the dishes.
Oh, and then doing the dishes, exactly. Doing all these dishes. I do not have the time for that. Like, not because I don't want to, not because of that. Well, yeah, I don't want to be doing that either. But I just, my time, so think about it, like how many hours out of the entire week would it cost me to do that? While I could be, again, doing the back-end integration for my company, creating new training programs, being able to support my team, be able to take in new clients, plan my social media campaign or something like that, right?
Closing one client within the hour would pay for your meals for the next month and a half.
Yeah.
Month and a half.
Exactly. So, and in closing a client, when I got to your house yesterday, you went into your room, I was on the phone. In 15 minutes, I made $1,500.
But that's after how many years of...
Correct.
That's after how many years of
grinding
knowledge,
right.
grinding it out, how many thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars that you invested to learn all this.
Correct. So a lot. It's been a lot. I don't even want to put a number to it, but it's more than 6 figures that I've invested into being able to know everything that I know. However, now that I have this high value skill, I'm able to close clients like nothing, and I'm actually training some people to close clients for me, and I guess I sound very, what is the word? I make it sound like it's too easy, like, oh yeah, oh my god, dude, it's so easy. All you gotta do is blah 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 blah, which in their mind is probably that's not easy at all, because I've done it so many times that it is super easy to me. Because it's about a topic that I know if they were to ask me anything, I would know the answer for, right? So for me, if I want, let's say it took me 15 minutes to close a client and I make $1,500.
That's $100 a minute.
So like do the math, like how much my hour will be worth? It'll be worth around $5,000 an hour.
$6,000.
Yeah, $6,000 an hour. So there you guys go. There you go. That's what my time is worth, $6,000 an hour. So if you want to take an hour, my time is worth $6,000. Or you need to be able to provide me enough value for me to justify, should I be taking in calls for the next hour, or should I clear my schedule and talk to this person right now? So, but now there's times where there's activities that I just want to do, right? I guess I want to go grab a drink with my friends. And guess what? I'm pretty sure our conversations are worth more than $6,000.
Oh,
100%.
So, again, it depends, you guys. So, if you're gonna take one of my working hours, then yes.
Make sure it's worth a lot.
Make sure it's worth a lot.
So for me, the way I actually price my mentorship for Amazon FBA, because I do
Closer.
Yeah. So the way I choose to price my mentorship for Amazon FBA, I charge $7,000, and it was actually very, very strategic on how I did it. Correct?
I want to hear this.
So actually, the way I did it was I took 3 months of my sales, and I didn't go based off of sales revenue. I went based off of profit, which I was making around anywhere from 24 to 27,000 passively per month. This is, of course, me investing anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 a month. And from there, if I was to this is what I tell people. If I was to, that's just one stream of income. So if that's what you want to learn, Amazon FBA, cool. I strategically placed it to be $7,000 because I know I can show you with my strategies, in my mentorship, my attention, my expertise, I can show you how to make anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 passively per month. Of course, you have to have good credit, good credit cards, funding, all that within the first 5 to 6 months. So if you're willing to invest upfront $5,000 to $7,000, I can show you how to strategically make $5,000 to $7,000 passively a month. Not only that, why did I mention me making 24 to 27K? If you divide that by a 160, which is what, let's just say 27,000 divided by 160, 168.75. That would be me, that would be like me earning that per hour. 160, let's say you take the average American, correct? And they're working 40 hours a week, 4 weeks out of the month. 7,000 divided by 170, almost. That's almost
41.
That's 41. Yeah, that's almost how much. That's almost 40 hours. That's almost how much you would actually be paying me, like a whole month's salary. Yeah, a whole month's salary. So if I was making 168, like $170 per hour, let's just go ahead and round up, because my volume is starting to get bigger, obviously, with more profits and more, like, as we go. I'm earning on an average of $170 an hour just off of Amazon FBA. I want 1 month's worth. But the beauty is, of course, that I'm also feeding you inventory so that you make your money back ASAP. Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. So you guys, that wraps it up for today. Next week, hopefully we will have somebody to come in here and do another, podcast with guest podcast. But that wraps it up for us. Signing out out of Las Vegas. See you guys.
Later, guys.
All right. Welcome, guys. Thank you back.
Take 2.
All right. Take 2.